Hi, it's me, Jimmy, again. It's Saturday, November 19th, and I'd like to talk to you about verifiable evidence. and when I, for people to help me, and when I go to meet these elites, I have a lot of things I can talk to them about personal experiences. I'll also have them use the Bible code, and they will see for themselves the truth to it. So it won't be just my personal experience and me telling them to trust me. But if you were to go in a court of law and you were to bring a diary of the events that happened to you, then that would be submitted as evidence, even though you were the one writing the diary the whole time and no one else saw it. In my case, there is verifiable evidence to the things I say that over months and years I can talk about and show people that I'm not making stuff up and I'm not lying. So what I want to do here, and be as brief as possible, because people apparently don't like me talking very long. They want things very short and fast. Give as brief as I can a couple pieces of verifiable evidence. If we go back to September 22nd and 24th, 2010, it was the beginning of the Feast of Tabernacles on the September 22nd. You can verify that on WGN News, on the news, Chicago News, there was a story about a paralyzed man running for to be a city councilman. You can go to WGN, you can look up that story of that week at that time and that day and see that story was there. It can be found. And it would be reasonable to say that a person might say, like I did, if I were paralyzed, what I would do is I wouldn't be running for city councilman. I'd be trying everything I could to find a way to be cured from paralysis. Then, 2 days later, or on the 24th, as I was in a sandwich shop, I picked up a copy of the USA Today, which I never read, but there's a story about a paralyzed man, and he said that he would never give up, and that was the whole point of the story, was that he would never give up trying to find a cure for paralysis. Now, the stories about his life and the circumstances fell together like a puzzle for me that I'd been seeing for over 8 years, but I did not know it, as clues. And when this happened, I realized that, because I know that the Bible code works, that a cure for paralysis could be found, and that this was a sign from God. So it's verifiable that what happened on the 22nd, and it's verifiable on the 24th. You can go get that USA Today newspaper and see that story. Now, in November, and one of the things about that, when I tell you, when you see a sign from God, there's two things usually associated with it. One is that things happen very rapidly, faster than you would think. And as you see in September 22nd, 24th, that was kind of a rapid event. And people do things that they would never normally do. They do things that are out of their character and things that you couldn't pay them money to do. So people acting strange, out of character, and things happen rapidly are signs. Now, in November, I tried, because the elites or powers that be may not want to get involved if things were made public and brought out into the open. I tried to go behind the scenes in my small way to reach people so this could be done quietly. Because of 1 year later now, on October 13th, I had a dream that saying that Pittsburgh may be quote destroyed and 5,000 killed. I could no longer go behind the scenes and be quiet. I had to go public. So what you're hearing me talk about now is only because now lives are perhaps at stake. And from the things that have happened in my life, I can't just sit back and say, well, it was just a dream, it was nothing. I have to assume that something could happen. So that prompted me to come public with what I'm telling you now. But in November, I tried to reach out to a radio personality, and because perhaps I felt that these elites or powers that be could be listening to him. But not only that, he supposedly knew people that might be some of the richest people in his state. And on this particular event, he was talking to a man who also said he had contacts with the elites and that predictions were being made and coming true from this man. So I had tried to contact him in November, but the emails got sent back undeliverable. I don't know why. My phone calls never got a response. I tried calling his office. He's got a radio show. I did not try calling that in. And I'm not sure if I tried to contact him on any of his website's comment boards. But at some point, so he did not reply. And time went by. And then he did a story, an article, and was testing something, and he wanted to see what the audience response would be to his experiment. So I felt, well, he might be paying attention to what commenters say. So I was going to try and get my message to him once again, which was, help me contact the elite, because I want to try to cure paralysis and prove essentially that God exists to them, so that they will change their ways. So I posted, and here's what I will tell you. This is the example that is verifiable. You could go and download this podcast. You can go to his website on the comment board and read the comments I made. And this is verifiable that this happened. Now, as it happened, it also happened just as I said things happen. Things happen rapidly. And, well, here, let me read to you what happened on that day. And this is verifiable. So, what I had done was I had put up my post explaining, please help me contact the person, and that what I was trying to do. And some people criticized me. And so I wrote back to them in my response to their criticism what I was saying. Now, when I wrote that reply, 10 hours later, what I had written in that reply, this radio personality said virtually the same statement using the same particular words that I did. And he was doing this while interviewing a man who says he has close contacts with the elites. And in that show, they were talking about Chicago. And I had posted that, I'm Jimmy from Chicago, or Jim in Chicago. Have him try to get to me. Now, I use the name Gamaliel, or Gamaliel. Here is what I wrote. And I pointed this out on April 15th to the people. April 15th, 2011. The rapid response, a glimpse of God in action. I'm posting this message here because the subject matter is Chicago. Yes, on this particular little article. And I need you to get the radio personality of this message, because it is from Chicago that real change you can believe in may come. And what I show in the message below is evidence in support of what I claim. The claim: I believe God has sent a sign suggesting that it is possible to rapidly find a cure for paralysis in such a way that will prove it was from God. The powers that be will now know and believe there is a God as a result of this cure. They will then change course off the suicidal path of destruction they and we are on, and be converted to helping mankind, and reap blessings of love and joy. Read what has already happened from God as a result of my posting on April 12th. Then it says from a new post. All right, okay. The rapid response, a glimpse of God in action. To commentators, and there's 3 names that I will not name, and all others who doubt. You were doubters and unbelievers, but now you get to see a glimpse of God. You are very lucky indeed. In my posts on April 12th, I told you that I desired the radio personality's help so that a cure could be found in a rapid way for paralysis that would be proven to come from God, and that by this the powers that be would know there is a God and change their wicked ways for the benefit of all mankind. Because you did not understand, I wrote here on April 13th, 2011 at 2:32 a.m., to those critics who think they know better than I do, you don't have the discernment. I suggest you read the full New Testament. If you knew what you were doing, you'd know in the end days it says signs would be sent. You know Jesus spoke to watch for signs. You know Jesus said he spoke in parables so that some would understand and others wouldn't. God said he talked to Moses straight, everyone else in riddles. 10 hours later, the radio host said these words. He was taking calls with the man who had contact with the elites on Wednesday, April 14th or April 13th, 2011, and Adam in Alabama called in at 2 hours and 1 minute and 32 seconds into the podcast. The radio host says at 2 minutes and 2 seconds and 2 hours and 2 minutes and 36 seconds into the podcast, he says, well, what did Jesus and many other folks in the Bible say over and over again? This knowledge, for those that have discernment, you will understand it. For everyone else, it's in parables. They're not going to understand it. So correct me if I'm wrong, but so much of the Bible is incredible poetry, but also riddles. That's not the right term, but I mean it's almost like Sanskrit, that if you don't know how to understand it, for somebody that does have discernment, you totally get it, and you see the many levels to every statement in the Bible. The general public reads it, and it looks like gibberish. End of quote. Then I continue on in the post, and it says, it's all proven fact. Now, you can look up what and when I wrote it, and then you can download that podcast and hear what the radio host says. In 10 hours' time after I wrote it, the host is saying the exact same kind of statement and using my key terms, discernment, parables, and riddles. And he discusses Chicago on the show after I said for him to give out a phone number so that I can reach him to Jim from Chicago. All this happened rapidly, 10 hours after I wrote my comments. Did I not tell you that the cure could come rapidly? Why do you think I made that very specific point? Because as I said, I know this from a personal experience. And now you can see it and know it as well, as a result of what the host said. You might claim coincidence. No, not when you've had as many coincidences as I've seen. Things have happened too many times and of a very specific nature to just be coincidence. After all, I have only posted one time before publicly on these comment boards, and this happens? I have seen God influence people at least twice, maybe 3 times before, that I'm sure. And that is because, excuse me, their behavior was so out of context for their character, and then the things that happened after that. The radio host making that statement was by the hand of God, which proves to me once again that I am right in my belief regarding the sign from God that I experienced on September 24th, 2010, that suggests a cure for paralysis can be found in a way which will show it came from God. Once again, I ask that anyone who knows how to get a message to the host contact him and tell him to get in touch with me. For some reason in the past, emails got returned with a message saying undeliverable. Phone messages to his office never got returned to me in November 2010. His employees aren't helping him in this instance. He should even be able to email me through my comment tag name when I signed up as Gamaliel. I know what I claim about finding a cure via God sounds fantastic, but if the host saying the same thing I wrote 10 hours later, when I'm asking him to help me in an effort to save billions of lives, it is fantastic. It's too good to be true, don't you think? And rapid, yes? So I beg the public, please, please, let this person know. I could sure use his assistance in saving lives. Tell him to email me or give out a number to call him privately. Sincerely, Jim from Chicago. So there you go, folks. That's the post I made. If you, in the future, if people were to go, they could find that comment on the common boards. They could download those podcasts. So this is verifiable evidence. As I'm saying, I'm not joking around here. I'm not kidding. I'm not a prankster. I'm trying to help people. And there's other things more than that, and instances just like this, from my experience, that I can explain. But that's enough for now. If I need to give you more later, I will. Please spread the word to the powers that be, to the people with the ability to start and stop wars, the elites. If you know anybody who knows somebody, tell them there's a guy out there that wants to cure paralysis. He thinks he's been sent a sign from God. He's going to do it with the Bible code. And he just wants to have his shot to come talk to the top people and make it happen. Thank you very much for listening to this video.